Hello, I am Addison Morris with the Women's Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, and this is from Concept to Launch with Ali Bianco, the CEO and founder of Pinks, and Sophia, who is the CEO and founder of Sophie PR. Now, Sophia is taking a giant leap into the New York cannabis market. So Allie is helping her along as a mentor because Allie's already been down this road and through this process and knows the pitfalls and the obstacles in developing and launching a business in the hottest state in the industry, New York. Now, one of the issues that a new entrepreneur who's developing their business strategy needs to know right up front is the cost of goods and their sources. So, this is unique because we're talking about cannabis. So, Ali, how did you start that process of finding the premium cannabis for your pre rolls? Is this like something you just Google, or or do you have to just talk to a lot of people? Where do you start? How do you where do you start?
So, where I started was I did do a lot of like cannabis conventions and a lot of like I was educating myself just on the industry, and we started underground. We were one of the black market legacy companies. So, I had gone to I was just like networking underground and we were selling underground, and then we met somebody who was a licensed operator, and they were willing to like help us get our license and produce like pinks and like give it like provide the flower, and we would provide the packaging and the PR and all the everything that like we needed to provide. But there was a lot of hiccups along that way. It wasn't as easy. It wasn't as like like it was easier said than done. Let me put it that way, because when we actually had to put the action to the paper and we had to do it for real, there was a lot of hiccups in the road. They didn't want to do the production for my rose cones because my rose cones are very delicate. They are a quality couture piece that, and also like there was machines that they would pay for that cost a lot of money, and they wanted to use that machines over hand rolling or the machines that we provided for our cones, and that became an issue. So I had to readjust my entire company. And honestly, I think God helped me out a little bit, like not to be that guy, but I really do
Yeah,
think
but
like
you'd have to be.
you have to be, because honestly, I built a lot with pinks. I like my blood, sweat, and tears. Like you slit me open, I'm bleeding pinks. And maybe
Yeah.
a little Lana Del Rey lyrics because I love her. But for the most part, I'm bleeding pinks. Like I love my company through and through. I mean, since I was in high school, I wanted it to be a thing. So it didn't matter. Even if I came all the way up in like the highest pedestal I could be on and you knocked me down to rock bottom, I would still be like, pinks is a thing, even if it has
And if
no
you
money
didn't, I'd
behind
been
it.
like, Pinks is a thing for Allie.
Yes, like even if it has no weed, no money,
Right.
no pink even, it would still be like it's the belief in the company. And I think that is why God was like, I'm gonna help her out a little bit. And when I pulled together my fashion show, that's when our manufacturers, when we widened our collection, they were just like, oh, well, we don't want to do all the roses. We'll do the other stuff, but we don't want to do the roses, which was our selling point. Like the
Right.
roses that's what makes me unique. That's what makes I'd rather you get rid of the pink cones over the roses. Like, don't do that to me. So after that, I had to find somebody new, and luckily, one of my sponsors was a manufacturer, producer, cultivator in New York. And I was like, hey, I have this product. I just did this fashion show. I had all the retailers come out, and that's another thing too, is I really put myself out there. Like I put together a fashion show and I invited every single retailer, every reporter, every person that I thought was like somebody in the industry. And I was like, hey, come to this fashion show. I'm going to debut Pinks. And I made it something like huge. I made it and I put all of my everything into it. I put like my entire savings into it. I gambled on this fashion show. I really did. I was like, we're going to make it work. And it did, because all the retailers came out and they saw the collection, they saw the hard work that went into it, they saw the beauty, they saw the like passion. They were like, this is freaking awesome, let's order some now. And then that's like, so I found a new manufacturer that week. I was like, listen, I have these people ready to order. If you want to take on like the labor and help me produce this, then let's do it. And I'm still battling, I'm still trying to get the flower that I paid for with the other people. And it's like a lot of testing, a lot of like getting that results back. And like I feel like it's a battle. Sometimes you have to be tougher, and you have to be like little aggressive with your product and like protective of it, because many people can play with you and be like, yeah. Oh, I have this done. I'll send it to you in a week. Oh, it's going to be done in a week. And then 3 weeks later, and you have none of your products. And then you're the one that's hurting from being patient with everybody. And it's a shame, because I've been so patient with people. And then I have been guilted into feeling like I'm the bad guy because I'm like applying the pressure now. But you need to do that. You need to apply the pressure. You need to kind of be the bad guy, because at the end of the day, your intentions were pure. What you did was good. That you put in the hard work, the money, the sweat, the equity, the everything. And then if people are going to play with you, even in the eyes of the law, we live in America. And that is one thing that I will say is a great thing about our country is, we have like a court system, we have judges, we have lawyers, we have even juries. You have a whole, like, you have a way to, you have a fight that you can fight. And in the eyes of the law, as long as your intentions are pure and that you did this like 100% with integrity, honesty, and somebody screwed you over, then you're fine.
I think that's a big part to brush up on too, when people are just like, a lot of things take time. And when it comes to what kind of person you are, and again, it is annoying to always have to reach out for something that is yours, especially when it comes to funds, like unfortunately, because I'm in a bunch of these different businesses, I have to deal with things like that. And I can't focus on things I like to do because I'm waiting on payment from this person that did this quick hustle job that I wanted to do real quick so I could actually fund the business that I want to do. And then I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting on you. Now I can't do this. Now I'm discouraged from doing this. So then now another 3 months goes by and I could have launched
Mhm.
this product. I could have done this. I could have sourced out. I could have been able to move around. And they don't realize, like, unfortunately, you need money for things. And people people will be your delay, and it's hard to push through that when you're doing it by yourself. And that's why I think bringing all the women together is just like a powerhouse, especially in this. We could just knock doors down. This person has this and that person has that. And that was, again, the whole reason behind my PR brand, bartering and networking. We got to figure it out one way or another.
So, Ellie, how does that work? Because if your source for the product is not delivering and saying we can't do this, and you already have orders and you've hustled to get these orders, they love your product, they love you, but they expect it to be delivered. So how do you, and this is huge in the cannabis industry, just like Sophia was talking here. It's huge in a lot of aspects of it. And I think oftentimes it feels like it's because as women, they don't respect us and they don't respect what we're doing and they don't see the value in it. So were you able to make the deliveries?
Actually, yes, because of my fashion show and having sponsors. So another huge help was just, everybody I partnered with on that fashion show, everybody was connected to somebody in the industry, from the party planners to my sales teams to my PR team, to everybody that was involved. Like, it wasn't just a one man show, but I did put all of my eggs in this fashion show basket, and I kind of like spread my money wide and thin, because all the money that I had with like that like prior situation, and all the weed that I'm still waiting to get, that was hurting me. And I was like, let me just take this last little funds that I have in my account, and it was my investment. I went all in and I did it. And because of the sponsorships, because the party planners had organized the sponsors, one of them being the cultivator. So I will say it was God a little bit. And it was also, I believe, I think that people see the pure intentions of Pinks, and I think they see the brand and they relate to it and they can resonate with it. So I think people are just like wanting, especially in New York, like they want Pinks to be alive. Like New York wants to see it on the shelves. And I think that's really special to me because that's something that not many people get. Not many people kind of are lucky to receive that type of feedback. So I feel like we're blessed enough to do that because we created something that women and even men too. I mean, all of the girls and the gays, we relate to the Pinks, baby, and
Right.
it's so fun. And I love having something that people can like be like, thank you for creating a packaging, a product that's just expressing who I am, my femininity. And like, it feels good to express your femininity, especially in an industry that we were villainized and, had that stigma where I went to jail like 2 times. I'm like, okay, I'm gangster now. I'm not really gangster. Are you kidding me?
So if I went to jail, me, if I go to jail, done.
So you have a really high standard for the quality of cannabis that you use.
Yeah.
How are you able to be consistent with that? How do you know uh, what do you base it on? Is it on the test? Is it on the do you sample it? I mean, how do you determine that this is the quality, that this is the premium shit that you want for pinks?
That is such a great question because that was another reason, like right before the fashion show, and we noticed like a decline in the quality of our pre-rolls. And that was when they got the new machine and they were like, well, we spent $250,000 on this machine. We can't not use it. But this machine was so loose. And I know, like personally, I'm selling my packs, like the pack of pinks, the 5 full gram pre-rolls, the matches, those usually go $80 off the shelves. And if those joints are loose in any way or, boating in any way, I would never buy that pack again. And that's the owner of the company saying that herself. So I told that farm, I was like, recall all of that. You are not putting that on the shelves. Like, empty out those cones or fill them up or actually fold them closed. Like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I shipped samples out to a few like friends and like they were just like, this is so loose, this is ridiculous. Like they couldn't even like they were like they sending me pictures, they're like, this is your product, and I was like embarrassed that that's how the joints were coming out. So that is something. The quality was another thing that I couldn't handle. And then the fact that they were like, we don't want to do the rose cones, I was like, all right, you know what, this is just God is pushing you out of my life. I felt like it was almost like I was trying to hold on to something that was obviously over.
Yep.
And when I let it go, I swear to God, like there was another door that God had that whole plan for me. He knew that this new manufacturer was going to be the sponsor to my show and that he was going to have the best quality pre-rolls with outdoor grown flower that was on Amish land. So none of the GMOs from that baby booming generation. So our soil is so pure, something
Mhm.
that's hard to find. And, it's just really good quality stuff. And I'm very grateful to say that that's where we source our flower now. We source our flower, and our previous farmers, their farms were very pure as well too. Like that is something that they had great weed, but it was just the miscommunications and the lack of communications and just the quality declining. And it was just of the cones themselves, not the flower, but the cones. So, that was tough. And now meeting this partner and finding somebody that actually cares about what we're putting out there, that and like he like that's another thing is I feel like we're kindred spirits because he understands my other farmer. He's like, I care about the quality. Like if one label's messed up, like that's sometimes like we hire people and they'll mess one thing up and I'll have to retrain them because it's very important. He is just as strict as I am with that. So that's another thing too. You have to align yourself with somebody who has the same integrity and intentions as you do in the farming aspect. It took a while because there's many great farmers out there, man. There's so many cool
And
people.
that's the thing. It's like, how do you choose, And then obviously coming into this business for the reason that I did, um, it's like I know what resonates with me, but I had to learn that later on. So it's like
Mm,
when you're selling your product, it's like, what do you decide? Does it what resonates with me or what's going to resonate with the rest of the world or whoever is going to be purchasing the product, you know? So that's been the battle. So like, how did you decide that? Like, my biggest thing about marketing is like, I don't want to market, just like you said, something that I wouldn't even smoke. So it's like, how do you, how do you decide that? Because it's like this person could have everything, but then it's like you just don't like the weed that they sell. So it's like, ooh, what do you do?
So honestly, like that is one of those signs that I think God is gonna like you will know that that's not the right fit for your brand, and it's a tough you like you said it's tough because they could do like I like 5 out of the 10 like 5 out of the or like 9 out of the 10 things you need, but you need like 10 out of 10. You really do,
Right.
and it's tough. I mean, I will say partner with them, see if it works. If it doesn't work, don't do any long-term deals. Maybe do more like month-to-month deals and just kind of don't put 100% down. That was my first mistake was I put 100% down and received like 10% back. So
Oh.
you want to do something where you maybe could do a deal where you're like, I'll put 15% down or like, and then when you see how they work, then yeah, maybe you could put down another like 75% or like, then you could really play with your money and like, like if you trust them, if they are returning, if there's a good ROI. But I would definitely be a little bit more month to month basis if you can, to be safer, because that's the way to protect your money while also seeing results. And like you said, there could be somebody that has a bunch of good things, but they have like one thing wrong. And I would say they're usually like there's probably something later in the line that may not work, but get your brand out there too. Like just put your face out there, get people to know who Sophiee is, like get it out there.
Right. And then it's great too, because it's like being everywhere, like necessarily, right? A lot of things could tie into one thing. So when you go into just starting the marketing, like especially when you said like, it's so good to know now, like you can do things on a month to month basis, because you never know. Like you go in and people like year contract, you're with us, you're stuck, and then it's just like, okay, you come across somebody else and then you're stuck in a bind and you're like, oh, like now I'm kind of set back again because I put myself in a position that I can't get out of for some time.
I would say like maybe 90 days would be like the longest to try, because at least you could see results in 90. Like the first month you may not see, like, it's a lot of building the
Right.
brand, it's a lot of like startup. So like 90 days is a good turnaround from like being like built, then put on the shelves. And then, another thing too though that is really tough is, a lot of sales are net 30, and a lot of retailers have like 60, almost 9 after 90 days they do get put on OCM, which isn't like fun for anybody. It sucks and nobody really wants that. But it does sometimes, it could hurt like a brand a little bit, especially a startup brand, because some retailers do like take advantage of that 60 days. So they'll wait till like day 59 and then be like, oh, here's your check. And that's another thing too you have to take into consideration is sometimes that's not on the farmer, that's just on the retailer waiting to pay the farmer and everybody involved. So you do also have to take into consideration the time span of how long it'll take from farm to shelves to sale to purchase to reorder, which sometimes it could take 60 days. Sometimes it could take a week because dispensaries sell so fast. I mean, I have a dispensary that I delivered to them last Friday, and on Monday they're like, we sold out, we need more. I'm like, what the heck? Like the weekend was.
And it's crazy because it's like you're moving a mile a minute, so it's like you don't realize the work that you put in, and then you're getting calls like randomly. I'm like, oh, and it's the same thing too. Is just like it'll be one day. I'm telling you, I decided on my other thing. I decided just like kind of give up a little bit, and I was just like in a funk, and I was just like, I can't do this. I'm doing it alone. Like I'm losing my mind. And
God
then you
bless
get
you.
one call and flip the script. Now I'm on a world tour, and I'm like, oh, it
Because
just takes one day.
God wants you to be here. It's true. Like you need to be here. You have a success story and you have a purpose and you have something, you have a message. You have a brand that has a message. And that is incredible. And more women that like, partner like how we're doing what we're doing now. I really freaking love this, because when women come together, that's when the women's suffrage comes to, like that's when the women's suffrage happened. That's when civil rights happened. That's when, like when women come together, even in the cannabis industry, like look at how much more powerful it is when women dominate it and like
Especially when
create
you're not
more.
competing against each other. And it's so crazy because literally when I saw you at Revelry, I was like, genius. I was like, this is what I want to do in a person. I was like,
I love
oh my God.
that.
And you know, and then there's other people that are like, she did it before I did. So
Like a
now I'm gonna
jealous.
figure out how to do it better than her instead of just having conversation. And that's been, I'm usually good at reading people like that, you know. So, but it's just it's hard because like how do you differentiate? Because some people are good actors, you
Mm.
know, but trial and error is a big thing for me too.
I
Well,
love how like down to earth you are too. Like you don't have a jealous bone in your body. You just want to see people win and you want to win, but your success won't be from taking somebody else's. And that's what's going to make your success so much more like shine, like so much brighter, so much cooler, so much you're going to have such a strong fan base because people are going to respect that. And that's fucking awesome. I have to say, I'm so excited for your future.
Thank you. You guys are the greatest.
well,
As I was telling you, it was like the energy. When the energy is there, it's like everything is smooth. You know, we even though you know we have our little hiccups on this, we're just like go with it. We're great.
well, the cannabis industry is our opportunity as women to come together to collaborate and not compete and build that strong national business community of women in cannabis and change the dynamics and the paradigm and create our own economy within the industry. There's enough of us already here that we can work together. And, things like doing this series on the process of opening a business in some small way that does help other women because it shows them these are the steps in the process. Not necessarily in the order that we're going to present these, but this is an opportunity to listen to real life, this is how it happens stuff. And also, as we move forward with Sophie's Choice, how that develops and what she encounters along the way. So, thank you again, Ellie and Sophia, for being part of this. And it's just always a pleasure. You're always so inspirational and motivational. And, to all those women out there, let's change the cannabis industry and our role in it.
Yes.
Thank you all.